So I started reading the Irredeemable comic, and Plutonian from the comics might be the most evil version of Superman. He was born from a probe created by a pair of godlike aliens known as the Elios. Plutonian arose to become a beloved superhero to feed his insatiable ego and desire for universal approval. However, after a series of events that came about due to his numerous mishaps, Plutonian went on a murderous rampage across the world, embracing his most callous traits as he became a malevolent supervillain, spitefully condemning humanity for ruining his reputation. Despite basically being Earth's most beloved hero and pretty much just like the icon for all other superheroes, Plutonian had displayed signs of mental instability and abusive behavior from an early age. Even by his own account, Plutonian was only a hero due to his insatiable hunger for love and praise. As such, any criticism towards him, no matter how minor, is more than enough to hurt his enormous ego and even send him into a spiteful rage, where he usually demands to be treated with respect for all the good he has done for the world. His obsession with being loved might be worse than Homelander's, but who knows, but it comes from his childhood as an orphan, where he was repeatedly abandoned by his foster parents, as they were afraid of him because of his enormous powers. As time passed, Plutonian, or Tony, became increasingly frustrated with his adoptive family's fear of him, which would in turn result in him throwing violent tantrums, which ironically would only serve to worsen their fears. His traumatic childhood would end up starting a pattern that would repeat itself multiple times throughout his life, where he would sort of test his loved ones to see if they truly loved him. If they continued to love him, he would then increasingly push the boundaries until they inevitably rejected him, allowing him to feel like the victim and that his fears of being abandoned and betrayed are justified. Because of his powers, Plutonian lived in constant fear of making mistakes, and more specifically of being held accountable for them. He always believed that even a minor mishap was more than enough to cause irreparable damage to others. Also, the world at heart, and most importantly, his reputation, a belief that is largely true considering how dangerous he is when he's not fully in control of himself or doesn't hold back. However, despite his obsession with being the perfect hero, once he does a mistake and gets caught, his ego prevents him from apologizing and taking responsibility. Once he abandoned the path of heroism, he would also completely abandon this aspect of his personality, and he pretty much stopped caring about the harm and damage caused by his actions, as he no longer cares about what others think of him. After becoming a supervillain though, Tony began to indulge his previously repressed sadistic and depraved desires. He killed, maimed, and tortured countless people while either rejoicing in their suffering or remaining completely apathetic for very absurd and petty reasons or for no reason at all. Besides committing countless atrocities to satiate his bloodlust, Plutonian also committed very bizarre actions to satisfy his sexual fantasies, particularly those involving his former teammates, Betty Noir, such as forcing random couples to, do the act with each other just because they happen to look similar to him and her, dedicating an entire room at his base for statues and paintings of her, and even forcing another character in Kanta to dress up as Noir after kidnapping her, and also forcing her to be his sex slave. But the levels of hate and spite that Tony is willing to go through when he feels like he's been wronged are downright ridiculous. The most extreme example being the time he destroyed the entire country of Singapore and forcing his former teammate Quibbit to handpick 10 people to save out of the millions of lives living there, simply because a representative of Singapore lied to him out of fear, and then bro proceeded to fucking drown the entire country. But that's just the surface level of some of the crazy and evil shit this man has done. But what do you think? Is bro more evil than Homelander? Depends on which one we're talking about. TV show Homelander? Definitely, but I don't know. Plutonian versus comic Homelander. Who's more of a sadistic fuck? Let me know down below. Alright, but if you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below if you want to see more videos like this. But with all that out of the way, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.